Picture this. Deep in the heart of Alaska's unforgiving wilderness, where the wind howls like a tormented spirit and the sky unleashes fury without mercy, two brilliant botanists, Oki Koyamada and Yumi Hamasaki, embark on what should have been a routine final excursion from their remote research station. Armed with curiosity and scientific zeal, they vanish into a brutal storm, their disappearance dismissed for 9 long years as just another tragic tale swallowed by nature's maw. But then, a lone hunter spots something grotesque and utterly unnatural tangled in a bull moose's antlers, a human skull, weathered and defiant, dangling like a macabre ornament. This chilling discovery unravels a biologically impossible timeline, thrusting a cold case into bizarre new realms of mystery, horror, and revelation. In this educational YouTube video, we'll journey through their story, blending true historical echoes of Alaskan explorations, vivid emotional arcs of loss and resilience, philosophical insights on human vulnerability in nature, and modern lessons in forensic science, all while enhancing your English mastery with explanations of advanced vocabulary like maw, meaning a gaping mouth or jaws, often used idiomatically to describe something voracious, as in the maw of the wilderness, and idioms, such as swallowed by nature's maw, implying complete engulfment by an overwhelming force. Prepare for an inspiring tale that not only grips your soul but teaches universal wisdom on preparation, empathy, and the pursuit of truth. In the crisp, biting air of August 2007, at a remote Alaskan research station perched like a fragile outpost against the vast, indifferent expanse of the wilderness, Oki Koyamada and Yumi Hamasaki prepared for what they believed would be their crowning excursion, a final foray into the high-altitude ridges to collect rare alpine flora samples before their departure back to California. Oki, at 31, was the epitome of meticulous determination, her Asian American heritage fueling a quiet resilience honed through years of fieldwork. She moved with the precision of a surgeon, her dark eyes scanning topographic maps under the dim glow of a lantern, ensuring every contingency was accounted for. Yumi, her 26-year-old companion and close friend, brought a vibrant energy that contrasted Oki's steadiness, her laughter echoing through the sturdy cabins as she packed specimen containers, her enthusiasm infectious, driven by a passion for botany that had pulled her from urban life into this raw, elemental world. The station itself, a cluster of weathered structures accessible only by bush plane, evoked historical parallels to early 20th century Alaskan expeditions, like those led by Robert Marshall in the 1920s and 1930s, who mapped uncharted territories and advocated for wilderness preservation, highlighting humanity's enduring quest to understand and protect fragile ecosystems amid harsh conditions. As the two women shouldered their heavy field packs, laden with scientific instruments, emergency gear, and a Garmin GPS, they exchanged a nod of unspoken camaraderie, aware of the gathering storm clouds that bruised the sky, a meteorological harbinger of trouble. Witnesses, fellow researchers like geology professor Phineas Vogel, recalled their confidence, Oki's calm assurance that they'd return before the weather turned severe, Yumi's excited chatter about capturing data on plants thriving in microclimates, reminiscent of Darwin's own botanical obsessions during the HMS Beagle voyage in the 1830s, where meticulous observation led to groundbreaking evolutionary insights. But as they vanished into the trails, the storm descended with ferocious intensity, winds tearing at the landscape, sleet slashing like knives, temperatures plummeting in a catastrophic drop that grounded rescue efforts for 3 agonizing days. Vogel's growing unease turned to alarm when their bunks remained empty, their luggage packed but untouched, prompting a satellite phone call to Alaska State Troopers, initiating a response hampered by the wilderness's brutal efficiency. Etso Hamasaki, Yumi's mother in California, received the news like a dagger to the heart, her pride in her daughter's achievements shattering into paralyzing grief, her voice trembling as she flew to Alaska, insisting on her child's competence, refusing to accept a simple accident. This emotional pivot from hope to despair mirrors the Kubler-Ross stages of grief, evolving from denial to a fierce determination that propelled Etso's advocacy, teaching philosophical lessons on resilience akin to Stoic principles from Epictetus, who emphasized controlling one's response amid uncontrollable chaos. The search, once the storm abated, became a logistical behemoth. Helicopters whirring over transformed landscapes, SAR teams navigating treacherous inclines and dense brush, their boots sinking into muddied trails as they scanned for signs, a footprint, a discarded item, evoking vivid moments of exhaustion where volunteers paused, breaths fogging the air, sharing stories of past rescues to bolster morale. A breakthrough came with the discovery of a botanical specimen container near a steep incline, its presence ambiguous, dropped in a fall or discarded in desperation. This clue, analyzed meticulously with photographs and perimeter checks, paralleled historical forensic advancements, like the use of dental records in identifying victims from the 1912 Titanic disaster, underscoring how science bridges past mysteries to present truths. Yet, the storm's erasure of tracks led to theories of hypothermia, disorientation, or wildlife attacks, brown bears or moose encounters, though no evidence supported violence, aligning with modern wildlife biology studies showing most disappearances as environmental rather than predatory. As weeks dragged into the brief Alaskan summer's end, with snow dusting peaks and searches scaling back, Etzo's protests echoed a universal cry for closure, her grief raw and unyielding. Philosophically, this chapter probes humanity's hubris against nature, echoing Thoreau's Walden reflections on solitude's clarity versus its perils, urging humility. For English learners, vocabulary like harbinger, a sign of future events, often ominous, and idioms such as dagger to the heart, intense emotional pain, enriched descriptive narratives, encouraging precise expression of feelings. The case went cold, frozen under snow layers, but Etzo's enduring vigils symbolized emotional development from paralysis to purposeful remembrance, inspiring modern relevance in advocacy groups like the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, NAMUS, which uses technology to solve cold cases. 9 years later, in September 2016, Hunter Garrick Ryland's solitary trek, tracking a bull moose through yellowish-brown grasslands and sparse trees, culminated in a nauseating sight, a human skull entangled in the animal's antlers, cervical vertebrae dangling, a macabre fusion defying nature. Ryland's decision to shoot, preserving evidence via satellite messenger, highlighted ethical dilemmas akin to those in historical hunting narratives, like Ernest Hemingway's The Short, Happy Life of Francis Macomber, exploring moral choices in wilderness confrontations. The trooper's arrival, documenting on a blue tarp and decapitating for transport, thrust the case into forensic limelight, with anthropologists noting Asian female traits, dental matches confirming Oki, reactivating the mystery. Etzo's complex agony, closure for Oki's family but renewed torment for Yumi's, illustrated grief's layers, philosophically questioning fate's cruelty, as in Camus' absurdism where meaning emerges from rebellion against senselessness. The biological paradox, moose shedding antlers annually, making 9-year attachment impossible, shattered timelines, evoking scientific revolutions like Galileo's heliocentrism challenging established views. Investigators pivot to strontium isotope analysis, mapping the moose's movements via geochemical signatures in the antler, represented cutting-edge forensics, similar to its use in tracing ancient human migrations in archaeology, like the Amesbury Archer from Stonehenge era. This analysis, drilling samples for mass spectrometry, waited months through winter's grip, testing patience and faith, mirroring emotional arcs in literature like Jack London's To Build a Fire, where survival hinges on knowledge versus instinct. Modernly, this ties to climate change's impact on Alaskan ecosystems, thawing permafrost revealing historical artifacts, urging environmental awareness. For English mastery, terms like macabre, gruesome and horror-inducing, and idioms such as shattered timelines, disrupted sequences of events, aid in crafting suspenseful stories. The results pinpointed a remote valley, shifting searches there with LiDAR-penetrating canopies, revealing an unmapped cabin, a geometric anomaly amid organic chaos, paralleling hidden structures and historical explorations, like lost cabins from the Klondike Gold Rush of 1896 to 1899, where isolation bred desperation. Approaching cautiously, the team's entry uncovered botanical tools and Yumi's blue fabric scrap under floorboards, transforming accident to kidnapping, evoking vivid horror of captivity. Identifying Wyatt Bledsoe via manifests and interviews, his arrest and interrogation, building rapport, confronting evidence, led to a chilling confession, rescuing during storm, assaulting, Oki's escape to certain death, Yumi's weeks-long abuse and murder. This revelation, devoid of remorse, philosophically delves into evil's banality, as Hannah Arendt described, where ordinary men commit atrocities. Emotional peaks in Bledsoe's agitation upon seeing fabric matched historical interrogations, like those in the Nuremberg trials, extracting truths from denials. Modern relevance connects to #MeToo movements, empowering discussions on consent and safety in isolated settings, while English lessons in vocabulary like empirical, based on observation, foster analytical skills. Recovery of Yumi's remains brought Etso bittersweet closure, her mourning a journey toward healing, inspiring universal wisdom on forgiveness versus justice. Bledsoe's life sentence without parole closed the legal chapter, but Oki's full remains eluded, the antler mystery persisting, perhaps natural erosion or staged, leaving a philosophical enigma on unresolved truths, akin to Zen koans prompting introspection. As the Tetons wait, Alaskan wilds stand eternal, this story teaches vigilance and adventure, blending history's lessons with modern forensics. What if, in your own wilderness of challenges, you applied Oki and Yumi's meticulous spirit? How might that fortify your resilience and uncover hidden truths in your life? As the Alaskan sun casts elongated shadows over valleys where secrets lie buried under layers of time and snow, the story of Oki and Yumi evolves from disappearance to a profound exploration of human darkness and scientific triumph, reminding us that even in nature's vast silence, echoes of truth can resurface in the most unexpected forms. Delving deeper, the historical context of Alaskan wilderness disappearances draws from the ill-fated 1920 expedition of the Fur Mountaineers on Denali, where climbers vanished amid storms, their fate unsolved until partial remains emerged decades later, paralleling the 9-year gap in this case and underscoring the land's capacity to conceal and reveal. Oki's character moment of quiet determination shown in her pre-excursion planning, double-checking gear with Yumi, their friendship a beacon of support amid isolation, emotionally developing from excitement to unspoken fear as storm warnings loomed, a vivid scene where Yumi's hand squeezed Oki's, whispering encouragement, embodying the idiom through thick and thin, meaning unwavering support in good and bad times. Phineas Vogel's unease, pacing the cabin, reflected collective anxiety, his satellite call a pivotal act of responsibility, teaching philosophical wisdom on intervention's moral imperative, as in Kant's categorical imperative urging actions as universal laws. The storm's fury, transforming landscapes into impenetrable fortresses, grounded rescues, evoking emotional desperation in Etso's California home, her fingers clutching Yumi's photo, tears blurring the image, marking grief's onset. SAR teams' grueling searches, muscles aching on steep inclines, shared stories around campfires fostering camaraderie, mirrored historical gold rush tales of brotherhood in adversity. The specimen container's discovery sparked hope, its analysis a forensic ritual, akin to early DNA use in the 1980s Green River killer case, advancing justice through science. Theories of accident versus foul play philosophically questioned nature's indifference, echoing Nietzsche's abyss gazing back, warning of internal monsters. For English learners, fortress, a strongly defended place, metaphorically for barriers, enhances metaphorical writing. The case's cooling mirrored societal forgetfulness, but Etso's advocacy, lobbying authorities, showed emotional growth to empowerment, modernly relevant to missing persons databases like Interpol's. Ryland's hunt, senses attuned to moose signs, culminated in horror, his nausea and ethical shot a character crux, paralleling Hemingway's Hunters, facing moral quandaries. Troopers' tarp scene, flashes illuminating grotesquerie, led to Oki's identification, shocking families, Etzo's mixed relief, and renewed pain, a philosophical meditation on closure's double edge. The antler paradox, defying biology with annual shedding, a fact from wildlife studies since the 19th century, prompted strontium analysis, a geochemical marvel tracing migrations like in Viking bone studies revealing travel patterns. Lab weights through winter-tested faith, akin to polar explorers like Shackleton's Endurance saga of 1914 to 1917, where endurance forged legends. Valley searches with LiDAR, penetrating canopies like X-rays, uncovered the cabin, its log construction evoking frontier homesteads from the 1867 Alaska Purchase era. Entries tension, hearts pounding, revealed tools and fabric, shifting to crime, vivid in the dust-moated air where light caught rusted augers. Bledsoe's profile, eccentric survivalist, drew from historical hermits like the Mad Trapper of 1931, eluding pursuers. Arrest and interrogation, his impassive facade cracking under evidence, confessed storm rescue turning predatory. Oki's flee into doom, Yumi's captivity horrors, emotional nadir in her futile fight, philosophically probing isolation's corruption of humanity, as in Lord of the Flies. Modernly, this informs wilderness safety apps and gender-based violence prevention, English terms like crux, central point, aiding debate. Recovery excavation, soil-yielding bones, brought Etzo's cathartic mourning, her embrace of Yumi's memory inspiring memorials. Bledsoe's plea and sentence affirmed justice, but antler enigma lingered, perhaps glacial thaw from climate change, documented since IPCC reports, urging environmental stewardship. Universal wisdom. In life's storms, seek inner strength. How might confronting your own antler paradoxes, unexpected revelations, lead to profound personal growth and empathy for others' hidden struggles? The relentless Alaskan wilderness, where ancient glaciers carve secrets into the earth and storms rewrite destinies, serves as a metaphor for life's unpredictable trials, as seen in the twisted fate of Oki and Yumi, whose story unfolds layers of betrayal, innovation, and redemption. Historically, this resonates with the 1897 disappearance of explorer Frank Densmore in the Brooks Range, presumed lost to elements until clues emerged, highlighting patterns in northern mysteries. Yumi's vibrant preparation, joking with Oki over coffee, masked underlying vulnerability, their departure a poignant farewell amid gathering gray skies, emotionally shifting from optimism to foreboding. Vogel's silence-breaking inquiry, organizer's manifest check, unveiled absence, his call a heroic act, philosophically echoing Aristotle's virtue ethics on courage in crisis. Storm's onslaught, sleet and wind as antagonists, delayed rescues, Etzo's flight north a maternal odyssey, her insistence at command center vivid, voice cracking, eyes fierce, developing from shock to advocacy. Search's physical toll, teams slipping on scree, found containers sparking debates, akin to artifact discoveries in Egyptian tombs revealing pharaohs' lives. Theories evolved, wildlife dismissed for lack of marks, case cooling with winter's approach, Etzo's pleas a testament to love's persistence. For English, foreboding, sense of impending evil, enriches atmospheric descriptions. Ryland's tracking, rifle study, horror upon scoping skull, a moment of visceral revulsion, decision weighing life against evidence, paralleling ethical hunts in native Alaskan lore. Trooper's arrival, decapitation logistics, forensic cleaning noted no trauma, dental match to Oki shocking, Etzo's torment renewed, philosophically on ambiguity's pain as in Sartre's existential freedom amid uncertainty. Antler biology, shedding cycle documented since Audubon's 19th century wildlife art, paradox demanded innovation, strontium mapping like isotopic studies in Otzi the Iceman's 1991 discovery tracing diet. Analysis delays mirrored emotional hibernation, valley deployment with helicopters whirring, base camp tensions high. LiDAR anomaly, cabin reveal, approach stealthy, interior dusty with stove and bunk, floorboard lift uncovering tools and blue fabric, heart-stopping proof of captivity, shifting narrative to horror. Bledsoe's town life, arrest calm, interrogations psychological chess, evidence presentation cracking denial, confessions monotone recounting assault, escape, murder, vivid in imagined cabin chaos, Oki's dash into storm a heroic sacrifice. Philosophically, entitlement's danger, as in feminist critiques of power dynamics. Modern apps for tracking hikes relate, English idioms like cracking under pressure, yielding to stress, useful. Excavation somber dig, Yumi's bones emerging, Etso's closure bittersweet, inspiring support networks. Sentences finality, antler mystery open, perhaps erosion or refusal, teaches acceptance of unknowns. What unresolved antlers in your life might you analyze scientifically to foster growth and understanding? In the shadowed valleys of Alaska, where time folds upon itself and nature's whims dictate survival, Oki and Yumi's legacy emerges as a cautionary yet empowering saga, blending forensic breakthroughs with human frailty. Drawing from historical vanishings like the 1947 Bermuda Triangle-like loss of a military plane over Yukon, echoing aerial mysteries. Oki's methodical packing, Yumi's eager glance back, emotional arc from joy to peril. Vogel's concern, calls urgency, Storm's blockade, Etso's vigil, developing resolve. Search's endurance, container clue ambiguous, theories philosophical on fate. Vocabulary visceral, instinctual, gut level. Ryland's discovery ethical shot, forensics identifying Oki, paradox unfolding. Strontium's map, valley hardships, LiDAR cabin find, evidence horror. Bledsoe's capture, confessions chill, details vivid. Modern safety relevance, wisdom on vigilance. How can embracing mysteries propel your self-discovery? The eternal Alaskan wilds, guardians of untold stories, whisper lessons through Oki and Yumi's ordeal, inspiring us to honor the lost by living wisely. Historical ties to Peary's 1909 North Pole trek, isolation's toll. Characters' moments, emotional depths, philosophical teachings on evil and justice. English enhancements, modern connections to tech and advocacy. Enduring antler enigma urges reflection. What truths await in your life's hidden valleys, ready to transform through courage and curiosity?